If you've ever not gotten the deal, or you've ever not had someone believe in you, you've been doubted because of the way you look, how old you are, how young you are, what gender you are, where you're born, where you're not born, the way you dress, the way you look, the way you talk, then the question isn't whether that bias is true, because it may absolutely be true. But the question is, what do we do about it anyways? And how can we confront the other alternative reality that might be true, which is, what if you're just not good enough? Now what? There was a lady who made a post and she said, I quit my job to start doing this because my boss didn't respect me because I was a woman. And so because of that, I quit my job to start doing this. And I had this immediate thought in my head, what if you're just not good enough? That was the thought that came through my mind when I read that message. And it got me fired up because the amount of times in my life that I've seen this victimized mentality hurt people is far more than it has ever helped. And so the reason I want to talk about this is because it applies to employees and applies to business owners. And I have so many stories of this that I want to drive through this. And then I want to drive to the two natural conclusions that end up coming from logic. All right. And so this is the same thing as the kid who says, hey, I started this marketing agency and I've got these services and I'm trying to get these business owners and they're saying, well, they're not buying from me because I'm a kid, right? I'm too young, right? I had a family member who had a restaurant and he opened it up in the wrong part of town. And he was like, well, my restaurant's not working because people don't want to come to this side of the neighborhood. They have bias against this side of the neighborhood. And I'll give you another one, which was Jacob, who was my neighbor, my little 15-year-old neighbor from way back when I walked in on him trying to sell a wholesale deal. And he got off the phone and he'd been trying to sell wholesale deals for, a month because he'd read some stuff on the internet, watched some YouTube videos. And I was like, so, how's it working? He was like, well, no one's really, buying yet. And I could tell that on some level, it was because he thought that he was too young and people aren't taking him seriously. So one of our portfolio companies had two people who were in a conflict. All right. So there was a white guy and a black guy, and they were peers. And they had to work together, and they didn't like each other. And so finally, we had to be like, y'all need